Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. A few decades ago, if you heard the name Sicily, the first thing that would have come to your mind would have been the Godfather novels, Wise Guys, or the lovely blue Mediterranean Sea. But all thanks to reggae's incredible influence over the last couple of years, that has changed a lot. One of the most striking examples of reggae's reach and power is roots reggae superstar Alborosie. This self-styled Italian reggae ambassador is one of the genre's most passionate advocates and performers we will ever see. In the words of the great Burning Spear, this music has lots of legal hustlers who are all riding on reggae's bandwagon. People who grow dreadlocks and do the music just for the money and the fame, but no love. But Alborosie is definitely not one of them. A 21st century Rasta icon with a mastery of traditional roots reggae. At a time when reggae fans and music critics have lamented a decline in the output of roots reggae from Jamaica, Alborosie evokes memories of reggae's golden era. He's a prime example of why Jamaica is a cultural superpower. Practically a reggae fan from birth, in a European city almost 10,000 kilometers away from Jamaica, he didn't just start doing the music, but literally became a Jamaican by moving to the island, immersing himself in the culture, and emerged with an authentic identity as a frontline member of reggae's global elite. Let's take a look at the journey of Sicilian Rastaman Alborosie. He was born Alberto da Scola in the lovely city of Marsala in Sicily on the 4th of July in 1977 to a policeman father and a housewife mother. The musical landscape around young Alberto was dominated by pop and rock artists like Umberto Tozzi with his smash hit Ti Amo. But everything would change in June 1980 when the Jamaican superstar would shake things up big time. Bob Marley was on his legendary tour upon the release of the Uprising album. It was the Tough Gong's first time in Italy, and he played his largest ever concert with a performance at the San Siro Stadium in Milan in front of more than 100,000 fans. The impact of that concert would reverberate for years to come, and young Alberto would grow up listening to the Uprising album and eventually the previous classics from the Tough Gong before the age of 10. He loved the music and took to it like a duck to water, and took several steps further by teaching himself to play the guitar, keyboards, and other instruments, mimicking the reggae rhythms on the records he played at home before the age of 13. And by the age of 15, he left Sicily to take his music more seriously and gravitated to Bergamo, a city with a more vibrant reggae scene than back in Sicily. And while there, he would join forces with a reggae-loving guitarist called Fabio Merigo, and they formed the nucleus of a band that became known as the Reggae National Tickets. And Alberto, as the lead singer, took the stage name of Stina, and that group became one of the first reggae bands to emerge from Italy and would over time grow in popularity all over the country. They released their first album in 1997 with a follow-up in the next year. They were a tight act, and their breakthrough would come at the Rotterdam Sunsplash in 1998, where the sizzling performance saw them crowned Italy's reggae ambassadors, and also an invitation to perform at the Reggae Sunsplash in Jamaica in that same year. A massive deal for them, as very few foreign acts got the opportunity in those times. And that trip was impactful for the whole band, but life-changing for then 20-year-old Alberto, as they recorded their third album at the popular Gijam Studios in Port Antonio and worked with legends like Aston Barrett from Bob Marley and the Wailers. Alberto fell in love with Jamaica. He was captivated by the culture, sights and sounds, not to mention the Rastafarian philosophy. The Reggae National Tickets broke up 2 years later in the year 2000, and upon that split, he chose to move permanently to Jamaica in 2001. And thanks to all the strong connections that he made during his first trip, he found a job as a studio engineer stroke producer at the Gijam Studios, where he and his band recorded their album 2 years before. And he would acquire a new stage name from his new nickname, Alborosie. The first two letters Al came from his name, Albert, and Borosie, a slang term for jerk, which he was called often by his friends after he moved to Jamaica. With Gijam as one of Jamaica's biggest studios, he would put in work for huge names like Sizzla Kalonji, Anthony B, and Kamini Marley, and would amass an incredible amount of experience. And while producing music for these superstars, he was writing and recording his own material, and he would in those times craft his future classics like Herbalist and Kingston Town. And after 7 years of paying his dues, he unleashed his debut solo album, Soul Pirates, in 2008. a massive 18-track roots reggae masterpiece that's, in my opinion, among the best reggae albums of the 2000s, with certified scorchers like Diversity, Herbalist, and Rastafari Anthem. Alborosie displayed his vocal dexterity as a singer and his awesome toasting as a DJ. Soul Pirates with a critical and commercial smash, and was followed a year later by the sensational Escape from Babylon to the Kingdom of Zion. Everything about this second album shouts classic, right from the album cover, which is reminiscent of the colorful artsy works of dub producer Scientists. In fact, Alborosie engaged Tony McDermott, the same artist that designed Scientists' album covers, and from the first track, America, you just know that you're listening to a classic compilation, with instrumentals that take you back to the golden era of roots reggae, but also feature his updated contemporary vocals, which are crackling with consciousness and Rastafarian fervor. He broke records in 2011 when he became the first European reggae act to bag a MOBO award. His spectacular emergence also featured a prolific output with a slew of albums dropping regularly from the 2010s, in which he featured legends on different albums like the Abyssinians, Beres Hammond, and Junior Reid, and also a dub album with legendary producer King Jammy in 2015, and another with the Roots Radix in 2019. But one of his most critically acclaimed albums, and one of my personal favorites, was 2018's Unbreakable, Alborosie Meets the Wailers United. I always prefer an artist's early works because of how raw and fresh the artist is compared to later works when the record labels start to interfere with their creativity. But on this one, Alborosie retained his edge from his early days with the Reggae National tickets, with awesome tracks like Unbreakable featuring J Boog, Two Rock that featured legend Beres Hammond, and Mystical Reggae featuring Jacques. His dedication to the message of consciousness and revolution is adored by his fan base and has seen him easily become among the most commercially successful reggae artists of all time. In terms of sales, his numbers are mind-boggling, and on Spotify alone, he's amassed almost 800 million plays, and on YouTube, I estimate his views to be at least 1 billion. And on the touring circuit, he's been headlining the biggest reggae festivals across the 5 continents for more than 16 years non-stop, and at one point was playing a superhuman 200 shows per year. And what I find incredible about this man is how success hasn't watered down his revolutionary fire in the very least. In his own words, I'm still on the same mission and I'm still sticking to the cause. I will never switch. Alborosie is one true soldier for the culture and a vanguard for the preservation of all we love about the incredible music. Bob Marley predicted rightfully that the music would get bigger and bigger until it went round the world. But I can bet that when he toured Italy in 1980, he would have found it hard to believe that the then 3-year-old Sicilian kid would indeed become one of the giants of reggae music on a global scale. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, Jah bless.